Welcome to Jack Sports TV. Damian Bell here, Pat Donovan. We're going to talk Tampa Bay sports as we do each and every week, as we will each and every week here at jacksportstv.com. And of course, the big story nationally is LeBron, Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, where are these guys going to end up in the NBA? But of course, here in Tampa Bay, the big story is the Tampa Bay Rays, the June swoon for the Tampa Bay Rays. And of course, now Stu Sternberg finally coming out saying, I need a stadium. I don't know that it's going to work in downtown St. Pete. Maybe we need to look somewhere else. Damian, I'm interested to hear what you think about that.
Well, this will be a critical year for the Rays the rest of the season because of the way the Rays started as far as winning a lot of games and then struggling as of late. But to put in a losing streak and the threat to the fans that we may be going elsewhere, and it's got to kind of have the whole organization in a bit of a tizzy. I mean, they're still playing great baseball. The bats haven't quite come around yet. They've responded pretty well to finally letting go of Pat Burrell and making things go in the right direction. You wipe away those two no-hitters that the Rays have gotten, and things aren't bad. With the stadium issue, it might take about a year or two to, iron out the real wrinkles. And, the solution to fixing Tropicana Field might be actually in Tropicana Field. It's the only stadium in the majors that's been built, rebuilt, and rebuilt a third time before anybody really got satisfied with it. So why not rebuild it a fourth time? Put in the skyboxes that they want, add a third deck if they need to, make it what they really want to make it so they can take away the excuse of the stadium not being the way they really want it to be. And if it has to be a situation where it goes to Hillsborough County, they can make a lot of things work. They can use Legends Field because I can't see the Yankees trying to coexist with a team that's beating them or hanging with them in their own division and, trying to be the second team in a different city. But there's a lot of things the Rays have to weather through for the rest of this season on and off the field that's really going to tell the story about where this team goes for the next 10, 20 years.
Look, Stu Sternberg, in my opinion, has tried everything. Okay, the Tampa Bay Rays have tried everything to make the Tropicana Field experience the best that they could. Okay, if you go with 3 more people in your car, you get to park for free. You can bring food and drinks into the building that you brought yourself. Go try that at 29 other ballparks in the major leagues. You can't do it, but you can do it at Tropicana Field. I think that Stu Sternberg's right. I think that baseball cannot survive at Tropicana Field, and I don't know that it can survive in Pinellas and St. Pete. Look, they gave St. Pete the chance. St. Pete spit in their face, okay? Look, the first thing the Rays brought to the table was Al Lang Field. And they wanted to do it at Al Lang, and they wanted to face the water. They wanted those epic home runs to be going into the Bay, and guess what? St. Pete didn't want it to happen. I think St. Pete, the story comes down now to the old saying, piss or get off the pot, and they're not on the pot. They need to step away. They need to understand. I'm tired of hearing the mayor and everybody else. I hear people that don't care about Rays baseball that probably haven't watched a game all season say to me, I think they should stay in St. Pete. And I don't get it. If you don't care, you're not going out to the games. Don't tell me they should stay in St. Pete. Listen, if we don't take care of it, if it's not going to be St. Pete or Pinellas, it's not going to be Hillsborough. It's not going to be the fairgrounds. The question's going to be, will it be Florida at all? Will it be the Bay Area at all? And that's the one thing I, as a fan, I just can't sell for.
Well, I mean, as a Rays fan or even a fan of baseball, you've got to really step up and say, this is what I want the Rays to do and do it now. I mean, if it were me personally, I'd tell the fans to just deal with going to Tropicana because, when you go across baseball, fans had no problem going to the smallest ballpark in the majors for almost 100 years, and they've got a successful product, whether they won or not. Fenway Park is still the smallest ballpark in the majors, and it's run down. The Rats wear the Red Sox colors there, but they still go. And, of course, they got a big-time product out there that they don't mind spending money for. But when you compare a 34,000-seat stadium that they keep trying to put skyboxes on top of, and here you've got Tropicana Field, which is enclosed. None of those seats are written in stone. They've tried to do something with that beach area for the longest. Why can't you just build another wing and add in your skyboxes or add in your atmosphere or just make it look like the world's first indoor minor league ballpark and make it go from there?
And, I'm actually one of the few people that loves Tropicana Field. And I hate the excuse that the drive is too far because it takes me well over an hour to go to the game, and after you've left, I'm still there doing interviews. So it's not a good excuse that it's too far away and you work too late. And look, I'm not saying it's never valid, but it's not a valid excuse to never go to a game. If you think you brought up Fenway Park, If people think the people that go to Fenway Park every night live right around the corner, you're wrong. If you think the people that go to the new Yankee Stadium every night live right around the corner, you're wrong. If you think the people that go to Citi Field every day in New York and go to those Mets games live right around the corner in Queens, you're wrong. You know, there has to be some travel to go to a major sporting event. Unfortunately, it's just not happening. You know, Stu Sternberg came into this team and said, I'm going to change this team from the ground up. He didn't buy the team and say we need a new stadium. He didn't buy the team and say the attendance is poor. He said, I'm going to change this team from the ground up, and that's what he did with the help of Andrew Friedman. He went out and he changed this team from the worst team in Major League Baseball when he bought them to one of the best teams, despite being in a division where they have to deal with the Yankees, they have to deal with the Red Sox. It's one of the best teams in baseball. Even after the June swoon, which we're going to talk about, it's still one of the best teams in baseball, and you're still not going out to the ballpark, and I hate beating on that poor attendance horse, because the attendance horse has been beaten to death. But the fact is, you're not going out to Pinellas. Something's got to be done. If I'm Stu Sternberg, I completely understand where the guy's coming from. Something's going to be done. He's put his money into the team when he said he would. People said he would never, ever continue to keep players around. And you know what? They've re-signed guys. They've kept this core. Yeah, we do have to worry about Crawford. But the fact is, the Tampa Bay Rays are one of the best teams in baseball despite what's happened over the last month. And the attendance is not there. And St. Pete is just not getting behind this organization the way they need to.
Well, the Tampa Bay area traditionally has always been a front-running city where, you know, they'd stay back until you had a proven winner, then they'd come. They did it with the Bucks. That was, you know, 40,000 seats half filled every weekend, and then the winning came and sellouts every weekend. Same thing happened with the Lightning. You know, sparse crowds at the fairgrounds. Now they can sell 20,000 like it isn't nothing, whether the team is great or not so great. And, you know, those seats might not be completely filled now, but it's not a big a stretch to say that our team is good, come and see us. And even with the Rays right now, you got a 40,000 seat stadium where if you get it 60% full, that's still 30,000 fans consistently. And to get them in there, you know, from week to week, from night to night, from the Saturday concert series to that boring AL West Wednesday night game, you know, you got to find a way to get the fans in there. And it's happening all across baseball where, you know, you would be led to believe that the Rays had the worst attendance in baseball, but they're like third from the bottom, fourth from the bottom. So that tells you that there's established teams in the sport right now that are having bigger problems than the Rays are. So we're not that far off, but there's a lot of stepping up that the fans have to do. Personally, I'd be so desperate as to just do what they did 3 years ago, play a few games in Orlando, but make it even better. Use the minor league ballparks you already have in place. You got a new facility built in Clearwater that everybody raves about every time somebody goes there. You got a new one a little bit further down in Dunedin. You can use some of those AL West non-priority games, play them out there in front of 10 or 20,000, build it up, get outside, you know, take advantage of what you have in the area, because this is a baseball hotbed. This is probably one of the last few areas in the whole United States where baseball is big business year-round. And I'm talking about from high school to college to minor leagues, straight up to the pros. And it makes no sense at all that you can have baseball start off right here in our backyard in March, and then when April hits, they scatter. But it's going to be up to the Rays fans to show that they want to support a winner, and it's going to have to be up to the Rays management to kind of back off the threats a bit about leaving the area, because you can't say you're going to another place without saying we're getting out of Tampa Bay altogether.
And that's the unfortunate thing. It's going to come down to Pinellas saying, you know what, we have to do what's best for the Bay Area, and if not, then we're going to lose the Rays altogether, and I'm going to be furious, and I might leave, because I want to be in a city where there's Major League Baseball. I've fallen in love with this team. I'm not just a guy who reports on the team. I'm a guy that loves this team, and I can't watch them leave. And if it happens because the town or the city of Pinellas, Pinellas and St. Pete just won't get behind this team and won't allow them to go into Hillsborough or wherever, Pasco, I don't care where it has to be. Let it be in Tampa Bay, for crying out loud. And by the way, after you get out of the Rays game again, take that ticket stub, go over to Vegas Showgirls, you get in for free. We'll be back after this talking more about the Tampa Bay Rays and the June swoon.